Now let's move forward. Let's go into the WWL interview from Jake Delhomme, who basically gave some thoughts on the black and gold, coming into the season, thoughts on Derek Carr and other things. And this is interviews taken from WWL. Shout out to them. And let's listen to what they had to say about the Saints.
Talking to a listener earlier about Derek Carr in this upcoming season, and if you look at the NFC South as far as quarterbacks go, Carr's got 142 NFL starts under his belt, and then second most is Baker Mayfield. We're obviously all kind of projecting Mayfield to be the starter in Tampa Bay, and then with 69, and then Desmond Ridder has 4. And then obviously Bryce Young hasn't played a game yet in the NFL, and you just talked about how he's going to have to adjust to the speed. But how major of an advantage is that for the Saints to have a guy that has, at least a decade of experience under his belt and that doesn't have to adjust to, as you're saying, the speed of the NFL like a rookie like Bryce Young does?
Oh, I think it's a huge advantage. Listen, I was a big believer in this Saints roster last year, and I just believe they had some injury issues. I just thought they had a really good roster, and I still think the job that Mickey has done is pretty remarkable, to be quite honest. And they still have some good players. And if Lattimore, he missed a great deal of time last year. Can Michael Thomas come back? Because I think Chris Olave is a budding star when you just watch him on film and watch him run routes. So there's a chance. Listen, this division's wide open. I think Atlanta has done some good things, but I still think there's time that they still need to add some more pieces, especially up front on the defensive line. Tampa, listen, I'm not so sure about Tampa, to be quite honest with you. I think that this team could struggle. I think Tom carried them to some wins last year, but I just truly believe this team could struggle. So I think the Saints have, the upper hand right now with the roster and certainly the veteran quarterback. It's just can they stay healthy? And I'm hopeful Carolina, with this new staff, with some of these new players, and certainly Bryce Young. I mean, we all know it. I mean, I think – I heard an interview with the defensive end, Hubbard, from Cincinnati yesterday, and he said, look, I've loved Cincinnati my whole life. I'm from here. Now I'm playing here. We weren't good forever because we didn't have the quarterback. Now we have Joe Burrow, and we're good. So the quarterback makes all the difference in the NFL. I think we see that.
Jake, you had a guy.
All right, so that's Jake Delhomme. We're going to finish up on the rest of it because he did add another 3 minutes or so along. Paul, this is a 5-minute snippet from WWL on it. But yeah, interesting, man. Very interesting. Everybody knows it's a QB-driven league, and when you don't have the QB at the top of the team, you're going to struggle. We seen that last year with the Saints. We didn't have an effective quarterback that had leadership ability that can guide the team. It's a detriment. You cannot win in the NFL if you don't have leadership and a guy that can be a talent at the most important position. Not going to happen. Now, in rare situations, you'll see a team like the Baltimore Ravens with a phenomenal running back like Jamal, what was his name? Jamal, I forgot the man's name, but Jamal from Baltimore. Jamal Lewis, running the ball. Was it Jamal Lewis? I forget. Ain't my damn squad. You had Ray Lewis on defense for the for the great defense that the Baltimore Ravens had in the stellar running room like they had there. And it basically defense and running game that basically took them to the Super Bowl. Every now and again you'll get a team like that, but the majority of the teams that do get to that next level of teams that have a very solid quarterback at the top of the team. So I definitely agree on that. Now, in terms of all these other quarterbacks in NFL, Baker Mayfield, it depends on how motivated he is. I think Kyle Trask probably would be a guy that's looking to kind of step up and play right there. I'm kind of looking at Tampa Bay playing for the number 1 draft pick next year to be here in the NFC South ultimately. The Carolina Panthers, we know I scouted Bryce. I know what he can do. He's a very good young quarterback, but it won't happen right away. That's a lot of pressure, even though the team is built. They got good talent. They spent a lot of money and put pieces in place on the offense. They did a lot of really good things to raise up the overall talent level of that squad. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time because the man is going to run into things that he hadn't seen before. And it's going to take time for him to learn that. And maybe not this year, but the next year, year 2 and beyond, oh, yeah, he'll definitely be ready. But this year, with everything they're going to throw at him, it's going to be difficult. So I would kind of tamper my expectations, but I do think the future is bright for the Carolina Panthers, no doubt about it. And then you talk about Desmond Ridder in Atlanta, which to me seems like out of the three other teams, not the Saints, that he has probably the most beneficial position in terms of being a quarterback for a squad looking to kind of get back to winning. And Desmond Ridder is a guy that has a lot of college experience, 40-something odd games of college out of Cincinnati. He's a guy that don't make a lot of mistakes. He really doesn't. I don't want to insult him by calling him a game manager, but that'll pretty much be the role that he'll be in Coach Smith's offense. He'll be a game managing type quarterback, because they got these running backs like Tyler Algieri and Robinson. Those guys, they're trying to go back to running the football and playing tough defense. Spend $100 million on your defense, and then you got these two bowling ball running backs who are going to run the ball and play defense to try to control the clock. That's what it comes down to. And Ridder will just pretty much act as a game manager. Now that's very interesting because he does have weapons on the offense that can help him out. But in the end, you still have a 10-year quarterback with all that experience at the top of your team, and that's got to count for something, man. It really do. Let's finish up.
I like Michael Thomas in Carolina and Muhsin Muhammad. And people, Muhsin, he wasn't the fastest guy in the world. He wasn't, but, man, could he move the change for you? And what that means to a quarterback, and, again, with Thomas, it's not a question of talent. It's a question of can he stay healthy. But the advantages of that guy that can run those inside routes, move the chains, is the Saints haven't had that much the last couple of years because Mike has not been there. But you had a guy like Muhammad who was similar. The impact of a guy like Thomas, if he can stay healthy for this Saints football team.
Well, it's going to be Derek Carr's best friend. I mean, like when you know in that it's third and intermediate and you want to keep the chains moving, just he can body someone up, be it a slant, be it a quick, be it an out, be it a curl, whatever it may be. He can just use that big frame, and he has these long arms. He can body someone up. We've seen him catch 100-plus catches during the course of the season and make big play after big play, but can he stay healthy? And if he can stay healthy, then you add Olave to Olave. I just think's a master route runner. It's like he's just floating on air when he runs. When I watched film of him last year, so if he could add him along with the healthy Michael Thomas, that's very dangerous for the Saints, and that's going to make Derek Carr feel pretty darn good.
Your thoughts on Taysom Hill? Have you ever seen
Let me stop it right there. That's good sentiment. And Michael Thomas did recruit heavily Derek Carr to come here to the Saints. Since he's been here, you've seen him during the mini camps, them talking, discussing the offense, discussing where they like the ball to be thrown on the field. So the right steps are happening in terms of Michael Thomas, who said several times on film that he'll be ready to go. The Saints reworked him. It's a 1-year deal. It's a prove-it deal. And he's ready to prove it. And Michael Thomas getting on the field and playing, and he says he's ready to roll, so we got to take him at that. And, man, listen, Carr, Thomas, Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and other guys for the Saints team, this is going to be an impressive unit to watch. It really is. It'll be a very impressive unit. So, yeah, that Michael Thomas and Carr connection is definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing myself.
Guy that could do that much on an NFL field. Now, we're not talking about high school or college. We're talking about the NFL level that has played quarterback. He's played running back. He's played the H-back position. You see him. He can return kicks if you need to, special teams. Jake, in my lifetime, I can't think of anyone else that I've seen can do all those things that good at the NFL level. He's not a full-time quarterback, but you could use him there, gadget plays or whatever, and that power run stuff that he does really well. He's an amazing athlete to watch.
He's it's so defensive coordinators, they despise having to prepare 2 game plans in essence. So that's the thing that the Saints can use to their advantage is that you have to prepare not only for the regular offense and Derek Carr leading this offense, but you also have to prepare for Taysom Hill. And he's an adequate thrower. Yes, I'm not so sure he's a a true starter for 17 games in the NFL and things like that. But he's adequate enough that you have to at least respect the pass. And so when you have someone like him that can come in and just kind of change the complexity of a game, change the offense completely, and a defense has to kind of always be in their P's and Q's, and they don't know what personnel's in there. Taysom could be a tight end, could be a running back, but then also he can line up as quarterback. Then you have that extra blocker because you gain him running. So he's definitely a chess piece. I know they love him dearly in New Orleans, and it's kind of like the team respects him. You watch this guy play special teams, and he's a demon on special teams. So he's just a jack of all trades, and I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of wish he wasn't on the Saints. I wish he was on the Panthers. And when I call games in the fall, I would love to be able to watch number 7 in a Panther jersey.
All right, settle down, Jake. Settle down. Remember where you started at. They wouldn't have known who the hell you was if you didn't start with us first, buddy. Settle down. But the commentary on Taysom Hill. Now, we've often talked about it on this stream about Taysom Hill's abilities. Saints have not, since we've been doing the Taysom Hill experiment, have not balanced the Taysom Hill play calls. He runs a little bit too much versus the pass, which when he comes out there, they crowd the line of scrimmage. They're not afraid of Taysom Hill, the passer. Let's just get that out of the way. I've been saying this now for at least 2 years that the Saints need to give Taysom Hill 5 plays. 5. That's all I'm asking. 5 passing plays that he really needs to learn really well. Or ask him, what 5 plays do you like passing plays now? Do you really like that we could run? Let him master those 5 passing plays. You see, let him learn those. And then the Saints, if they need to run, and I've said this before, the Saints are attempting to run 2 offenses in under one, they're trying to run 2 offenses under the same, hood. They're trying to do this, 2 different things to force the defense coordinator to prepare for 2 different things, in which, that's another added layer of difficulty that a lot of those guys don't want to do. I got to prepare for Derek Carr and then Taysom Hill at the same time. That's just too much, as opposed to me just working on fixing and breaking down one guy. And if this guy is struggling, this other guy is killing me because I didn't put enough, whatever to him. So that's the only thing that I have to say about improving the Taysom Hill play calls is it needs to be more balanced, and it never has. He doesn't throw the ball nearly as much as he's supposed to be, and he's not an adequate thrower of the ball. Taysom Hill is not accurate. He's not. When he gets an opportunity to throw the ball down the field, is usually beyond the receiver or underneath the receiver. So that needs to improve. He needs to work on being a better passer. That's what happens. And he'll get all of those shots, because the reality is when Taysom Hill rolls out onto the field, the defenses, they crowd up to the line. And if there's a safety back, there's a single high safety, or, they're not worried. There's a lot of one-on-one. They're not worried about Taysom beating them up the field, throwing the ball. They're more concerned about him being a running back or a running quarterback around the line where they have to tack him, where they can be able to get to him. But him out there throwing the ball down the field with, basically one-on-one coverage, because that's what he's going to draw until he does it consistently. This is something right now I think they're wasting away the talent of Taysom Hill in that regard. Like, we see him getting, running over people around the line of scrimmage, but a lot more harm. His game would be a lot easier if he was a better passer of the ball, if he knew the offensive plays better, where him and the Saints work together to balance his play call sheet, where he can be able to throw the ball, him work on being a better accurate thrower of the ball upfield, because he'll get a lot of one-on-ones. That changes the dynamic of Taysom Hill's, the idea of what the Saints are attempting to do with Taysom Hill, the quarterback, and him rolling out there. Anything else, anything other than that, that is taken away from him. It's not optimizing what he's doing. I see what you're trying to do, but you need to fix it. You need to fix it where he knows 5 passing plays that he can rotate, because how many rotations did he come out there? He's going to run a lot. And a lot of this could be on Taysom, because Taysom is not going through his progressions. How often you seen Taysom come in there? He looks to the left, don't look to the right, and just takes off with the football. I mean, where's the patience here to allow plays to develop? Where is that at? So what is the ratio between run versus pass plays that they're actually calling for him to do, and he does something else, or versus the opposite of what I just said? You see? So the reality is this is something that Coach Payton created in his mind, but it never was severely optimized. It never was optimized. Optimized meaning this guy's throwing almost as much as he's running, and we have not seen that. We haven't seen that. So I see what they're trying to do, and unless they balance it off, we'll never get the full, the full power of the idea of Taysom Hill, quarterback with Derek Carr, quarterback running out there, rotating, trying to keep the defenses off guard. We'll never get the full potential of that. We never will, unless they change that. So we'll see. All right. So shout out to WWL with the scoop, man. A little insight on the game. Thank y'all for blessing us with that.